On TV I used to see people find gold in a river. And I promised myself that one day I would go out and try to find some too. And now the time has came. Let's pack our things and fly to the Caribbean islands. Yes, to the other end of the planet, to the place where the pirates from the Caribbean once swam. Several days into our trip, we found people who agreed to take us deep into the jungle to a place where gold is found in the river. And the next morning, we set off. Oh, and I forgot to say in which country are we currently. It's the Dominican Republic. And frankly, we were sorta scared to go somewhere into the jungle in a foreign country with complete strangers. After all, crime in the Dominican Republic is, to put it mildly, slightly higher than in Western and Eastern European countries. But let's get back to it. While driving along the fields, the guy told us that there is a sugarcane field. I honestly never saw something like that before, so I asked if we could stop and take a look. Sugarcane is a plant that looks like corn. It just bears no fruit and the sugar is found inside the stem. Locals sometimes cut them and simply chew the stalk. It's very sweet. Then we stopped at a fruit merchant by the roadside. And just look at how many different fruits are there. It seems unusual to us, but for them it's a daily meal. Look at how many mangoes and goodies are there. And bananas are just lying on the ground. But the usual apples we know and love don't grow here and are very expensive in the stores. In essence, the people here are very cheerful and kind. We paid attention to the people and realized they are watching us. Probably because our skin is very pale for their country, not to mention that we're not even tanned. Here this young lady began to smile when she saw the camera. She probably felt like a model. And by the way, there's a building behind it. It's a sort of a bank, I think. Or something like a bank. Or maybe some small banking franchise. And here's a little horse with a saddle made out of everything they had on hand. And the guy sat on the horse here. Apparently, he took a bank loan, and that's why he has a machete with him. Locals are not very concerned about road safety. They just pile things on their cars and drive like that. And these guys don't even have seat belts. Imagine how they would end up if the car crashed. A dog came with us in order to protect us in the jungle. And he did certain things there, but you'll see that yourself. According to the plan, we were supposed to go to the city and buy ourselves high rubber boots. For the next day there was a rain in the jungle, and with my own boots I wouldn't get really far. The size was perfect, and we were ready for yet another adventure. In the store, by the way, I could have bought some cylinders with barbed wire. Apparently they sell all kinds of things here. This really helped my sense of security. Also, can you tell what kind of a building this is? And no, it's not a prison, it's a school. I really don't know why the wires are there. I was also surprised that there's nearly no printed advertising. Instead, they just hire people to paint their ads on the walls. And yes, everything you see is completely hand-painted. I think it's really cool. It looks very nice. And here's a guy who didn't really care much about his sewing business. He simply took a paintbrush and in 1 minute he painted himself the ads on the walls. So we hopped into our car and drove straight into the jungle. At the edges of the forest we were more and more surrounded by barbed wire, areas which had nothing in them. Well, as it turns out, people simply choose a piece of land and put these wires around it, and simply claim the territory which now belongs to them. And due to the great climate, many wooden poles have germinated, so trees are now growing out of them, meaning they now have nice hedges. We saw a few people and some houses in these areas. Well, houses. You'll get to see them right now. Our guide asked them if it was possible to enter that territory and set something up. They agreed and allowed us to enter the house as well. This is what the first building looked like. Inside, a surprisingly clean and small table with kitchen utensils, also cocktail glasses as it seems. And there are many pineapples on the floor. Of course, that's no wonder, since mangoes and pineapples grow in the jungle, like in our country's mushrooms grow in the forest. Next to the charming pink curtain is a bedroom with a large bed. And on the right is another room. Because the temperature here rarely drops below 20 degrees, that's why they don't have insulated walls. Basically, they have summer all year long and never seen snow. There's a kitchen next to the house, but no microwave or stove, not even a table. The campfire performs all the functions directly on the floor, and a rooster that makes sure that the water doesn't leak. Obviously, it's not very nice to climb into someone's pot, but it was interesting to see what's inside. And there seem to be some potatoes, maybe sweet potatoes. What do you think? I can't really tell myself. And when I saw all this, I thought to myself that these conditions aren't really ideal, and these people are very content with what they have and seem very happy. Without TV, electricity or fashionable clothes and cool hairstyles, it seems to me that the more one has, the more happiness he requires. We said goodbye and went back to the car. Along the way I stepped onto a landmine. It was very unpleasant, but maybe it's a sign that the gold and adventure awaits us, because for the rest of the journey we had to go on foot. We put on our black shoes and went into the jungle. And then there it was, the most interesting thing I've ever seen. Of course, it's not possible to show all our adventures in one video, so I'm already busy editing the second part, which will hopefully release very soon.